And while we're waiting, I'd like to introduce Mike Williams, VP and Lead of Assessment and Data and GCSE and all the options, and Guy Hewson, Director of Learning, and James Donald, who's Head of Year 9. So a very, very warm welcome. And this evening is about sharing with you the options process that your child is embarking on as they move a little bit closer to Year 10. So I'm going to hand over to Mike now, who's going to lead this session, and I'll leave you to it and join you later. Thanks, Mike, over to you.
Thank you, Claire. Hopefully you can all hear me. As Claire said, we did have a few technical issues at the start. So if it's a little bit glitchy at the start, we're fine. I think we're looking like we've got about 90 of you in here now, so that'll be great. So I'm going to introduce my co-panelists today. You will be able to see there. Oh, he's just gone. Is Guy there?
Yeah,
do you want to introduce yourself, Guy?
Yeah, present and correct. So good evening, parents and students, if you're watching. My name is Guy Hewson. My role at West Island is to lead the pre-16 phase of the school and obviously support your children and Year 9 students through the options selection process. So I will be behind the scenes answering a lot of questions, and Mike will just explain shortly how we'll do that process.
And James Donald, I don't know, James is coming back from a running training, I believe, somewhere in the new territory. So he's actually on a bus, probably with some of your children. Are you there, James? Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's a little bit, so I stay on mute until I'm off the coach, but I'm in a bus full of about 70, about 60, 70 runners, including myself.
Okay, thanks, James. I think we're a little bit broken up there, but James obviously is Head of Year. He'll be joining us and he'll be able to speak by the end of the webinar. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the options process now. My role is in concern with the options is really I look at curriculum through years 10 and 11. So it's something we've done for many years now and developed our systems over that time. So you'll see on the bottom of the screen there, you've got a Q&A button. If you want to ask any questions, please click that button. James and Guy and Claire in the background will be able to answer any questions with text, and also we'll be able to do some live answering questions at the end. Do hold on though, because if you've got a question, I'm liable to have gone through it during the presentation. So hold off until the end and start writing your questions really at the end. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start my presentation here. This is, let's see how this goes. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen there. What I've gone on to there is the pre-16 options website. So the way you navigate to this is you'll navigate through our West Island School website, wiz.edu.hk, and then you go Learning at Wiz, and we've got pre-16 learning, and it's going to be pre-16 options website. It will take you to this page here, and along the top you see you've got several options here. So the first page here, just to introduce the options process. The webinar I'm doing at the moment is actually recorded here, not the exact one, obviously, but it's last year's one. I'll update it with this year's after today, and some advice from our past students there. You can see the first bit of information we've got on that website here. I've had some questions from you, and one of the questions was, a few times actually, how many GCSEs do you recommend? And we recommend between 8 and 10 GCSEs. And quality rather than quantity. There's no point whatsoever in doing more than 10, 11, 12, 13 GCSEs. It doesn't really add to your portfolio. So it's about quality, not the number of GCSEs you do. And there's a quick view about the option system there, and an FAQs document for you to ask some questions there. Notice the deadline, I'll talk about it a few times, is Monday the 4th of December to get the options done. Then you go across the top, you've got some compulsory subjects there, which I'll be going through in a minute. some optional subjects there, option group A, B, and C, future-proofing courses, and about making your selection. So the reason I'm showing you this first really is after this webinar, this is your go-to place. Everything I talk about will be on this options website. So for example, if you clicked option A, business studies, I've already opened a page here. You'll see a page which is dedicated to business studies. On this page, you will have the head of department, Mr. Rolfe in this case, who will talk through business studies at GCSE. And underneath there, it will tell you about the course, the assessment, post-16 pathways, contact from Mr. Rolfe there to ask any more questions. And I've got this question asked by some of you as well. What's the difference between business studies and economics? And click there and that will answer your question. Okay, so this is going to take you through the options now. There we go. So there's the website. To navigate to it, throw on wiz.edu.hk or use the URL itself, which is there. So the only thing you need to write down now really is that wiz.edu.hk and look for the pre-16 options website. So we always start when we make a decision at West Island, we have a look at our vision, which is for every learner to be the best they can be. And we have a look at the aims to achieve that vision. And the aim we're really talking to here with the options process is to get our learners to experience a broad and flexible curriculum. And the next bit, personalised individual interests. So the individual we're talking about here is the student. So we're looking at student interest, not really parent interest. So the main focus of this is students choose really what they're interested in and are talented in and are able. So our whole curriculum, I'm going to take us through it. So we have compulsory subjects at GCSE in year 10. These are all compulsory subjects. Maths, English language, world literature, which is English literature, but we choose rather than focus on English literature, we look at literature across the world in English. So that's our literature subject. And science, I'll go through that in more detail. You can do 1, 2, or 3 GCSEs, and languages, 1 GCSE. There's a possibility of doing 2 GCSEs as well. So you can see there that's between 5 and 7 GCSEs, depending on what science you choose to do. They are compulsory. There's no option in choosing apart from whether to choose 1, 2, or 3 science GCSEs. So I'll take you through that now. Now, this is probably the question we get asked the most. On the top there, you'll see it says each science, it doesn't matter which science you choose, triple science, double science, or combined science. You still get 6 periods in the curriculum, 6 periods in our cycle, which is a 7-day cycle. Triple science, you do actually do 3 GCSEs, which are the science subject, biology, chemistry, and physics. So they stand alone as GCSEs, and they're done in 6 periods. So each subject only has 2 periods. And that's quite a short amount of time to do a single GCSE. Compared with other GCSEs, they usually get 3 periods. So our triple science course really is for students who are very fluent with science and they can cope with going at quite a fast pace. The second one there is double science. Now, double science doesn't mean you choose 2 sciences. You actually do biology, chemistry, and physics, but you do about 2/3 of the course. So you do all 3 sciences, but it's only worth 2 GCSEs. Again, you've got 6 periods, so you're going to go at a bit of a slower pace in double science GCSE than triple science GCSE. In year 10, what we do is all students are in the same groups. So we don't decide, or we don't actually put them in double science and triple science groups until year 11. What that means is that we like our students to work in mixed ability classes. So we hold off the streaming into triple and double science until year 11. So the pace in year 10 is a little bit slower. Once we split off into triple science and double science, in year 11, the triple science students move a lot quicker through the curriculum. But it also means that if you make a choice today or in this process of doing double science or triple science, you could change your mind anytime in year 10, talk to the head of science, talk to your science teacher and decide to do the other science. So it's not a decision that really matters at the moment. So if you're someone who thinks you need a little bit more time to understand science, then I'd go for double science. And if you think you're really good at science and you can work through it quickly, go for triple science, but you can change during year 10 if you want. The third lesson there is combined science. Really, this is one GCSE and you have 6 periods to do this. It's a lot of time. This class also has extra support in it. So if you're someone who really struggles a bit with science, then you should consider the combined science group. It'll have much more support. And it also covers all 3 sciences, but you do obviously only about a third of each of the biology, chemistry and physics course. So for each of the triple science, double science, combined science, you actually cover elements of biology, chemistry and physics. So the only thing to bear in mind is if you want to do IB diploma, biology, chemistry or physics, then you cannot do combined science at GCSE. You need to either do double science or triple science. Either is fine. I got a question today about science through one of you. They heard you could only get a level 8 in double science. That's not true. You can get a level 9 in double science and you get level 9 in triple science. So you can get any grade whatsoever in double or triple science. Combined science, you can only get up to a grade C. So hence, this is why you can't do an IB diploma. You can do other options at IB diploma if you want to do IB diploma. There's things like ESS that you could study with combined science, environmental systems, but more of that when you go into year 12. So what we're here for mostly is to look at the options. So our option system, you have 3 groups of options. Group A, individuals and societies, used to be called humanities. Group B, creativity and design, and Group C is an additional option. So adding 3 GCSEs, A, B and C, to the already 5 to 7 GCSEs, totally your children will be doing between 8 and 10 GCSEs. Above 8 GCSEs is fine. It doesn't matter whether it's 8, 9 or 10. That's enough GCSEs to get onto any course and to go to university as well. So Group A, economics, philosophy and religion, business studies, psychology, geography and history. All of those subjects are options in year 9, also studied in year 7 and 8, apart from psychology, economics and business. So only 3 of those subjects actually you can study lower down the school in year 7 to 9, which are philosophy and religion, geography and history. So for the subjects which are new for your children, the ones you can't study lower down the school, we will be running taster sessions. Sign up is actually happening at the moment for those taster sessions. But all the information obviously is available on the website if you need to know about those subjects. Creative and design is option B. All of those subjects there, I won't go through them all. Now, I'm going to introduce a new qualification, which is not GCSE, which is BTEC. Oh, sorry. Oh, bear with me. So BTEC there is an equivalent qualification to GCSE. So the difference between BTEC and GCSE is that most GCSEs, you have an exam at the end of the course. Some do have coursework, but most of them have either coursework and an exam or just an exam at the end of the course, at the end of year 11. BTEC's a continual assessment all the way through the course. A lot of students like this because it doesn't put the pressure of a final exam. Our BTEC courses are very popular. They are equivalent to GCSEs in terms of getting onto a IBDP or BTEC courses in year 12 and 13. There is no difference. We don't put any more weighting on BTEC courses or GCSE courses, so they're absolutely equivalent. So it just depends on what mode of learning that you would like. The ones that we do at West Island, the BTEC ones, are very practical subjects. So there's a lot of project work, a lot of practical work, which is assessed throughout the course there. Have a look at the pages on the website if you want to know more about those BTEC courses. So Group C. So you can, for Group C, you can choose any option from Group A or any second option from Group A or Group B. So you have a free choice there for your third option. You can choose GCSE physical education. You can choose a second language. So normally students in year 10 just carry on the language they did at year 9. All of our students at West Island study one language in year 9 in NYP. They will carry on that language into year 10. If you want to do another language, a second language, an additional language in Chinese, French or Spanish, a different one than you're actually studying at the moment, then you can do so, but you need to speak to your teacher or the head of languages, Ms Guzman, and speak to her about whether you can take on an additional language in year 10. So you need to have some proficiency in that language so that you can access the GCSE course along with the other students. So my advice to you is just talk to your language teacher whether you're able to do that course if you haven't been studying it in year 9. So just to talk about language pathways we have at West Island. So all students, actually most students, ones who don't do EAP or S4S in year 7 and 8, most students study 2 languages, which is Chinese and a European language of their choice, either French or Spanish. They do the same in year 8, and in year 9, they study 1 language, either Chinese or the European language they studied in year 7 and year 8. And as you can see, you carry on with that language all the way through to the end of year 11. So that is compulsory, you must carry on with 1 language. In year 12, and I got a couple of these questions today, this is why I'm broaching this now, you can choose to carry on with that language. So the first quadrant on the top left there, you can see that this student has done Chinese all the way through to year 11. They can then carry on with the Chinese at IBDP if they so wish to carry on with the IBDP course. And they can choose that language at A or B. A is first language. So if their first language Chinese in year 11, they want to carry on with first language Chinese in year 12. So that will be Chinese language and literature in year 12. So what you get there is you get a dual language, a dual first language IB diploma. So you can also do it language B, which is language acquisition. That is learning a language in school, language acquisition in school. That's not your first language. So you can carry on with Chinese B. But if you want, look at the bottom one there, bottom right-hand corner. This student here has done Chinese all the way through to the end of year 11. And in year 12, they don't want to do Chinese. That's okay. They can switch to do a European language at what we call ab initio level. So if you want to change the language you're doing in year 12, that is entirely possible as well. So there's no need in year 10 to do a European language to get a qualification in that European language in year 12. You can do it at ab initio level. Again, talk to your language teachers about the options for you. What else you could do in option C is you can choose to do strategies for school, which is extra support lessons, or you can do English for academic purposes. And the teachers involved in that, Ms Koshy and Ms Woods, will either have contacted you already or your child will already be on that course. If you want to know more about this course, then please contact Ms Woods or Ms Koshy to see if your child should be or could possibly be on that course. Okay, so that is the 3 different options groups that we've got. We also have some more choices. These are not, they're not actually assessed qualifications. These are just short courses called future-proofing courses. Now, this year, we're actually going to change the way we do this in terms of choosing your course. we're not going to choose the courses, or your children aren't going to choose the courses until about March, because I want students just to be choosing their GCSE and BTEC courses now. And also, we will have a look at adding more courses between now and March to the future-proofing menu, but I'll let you know about it now. So future-proofing, as it says, what we're trying to do here is build skills, future skills, technology skills, if you like, but also learning skills, and as we call them, ATL skills. So let me just start this video. Hopefully, there's the courses that we've got at the moment. We'll be adding to those this year. Hopefully, we're going to add things like podcasting and YouTubing as well. They're kind of current courses, which are skills which students really interested in and will be beneficial to them in the future. Hopefully the video will start now. Oh.
I've done vlogging and podcasting. I've really enjoyed it so far. It's really allowed me to be in front of a camera and be more confident while I'm speaking. It's helped me develop social skills and also just communication skills when we have to work with partners and such. And
I enjoyed coding for artificial intelligence the most because we had the opportunity to experiment with our own designs and code what we wanted without fear of being marked down.
I would say I've enjoyed mindfulness the most because, especially right now with mock exams and GCSEs going along, I feel that mindfulness really helps me slow down and finally try to relax and make sure I am in a good state of mind.
And I've enjoyed the electronics course the most. This is because we can collaborate with other people when your wire thing is not working. Maybe you've put in the wrong hole, or you mix up the positive and negative ends of an LED wire. You can collaborate with other people and solve problems together.
I have developed creative thinking skills because we need to think about what ideas we have and if those ideas would work, if those ideas would not work. Critical thinking skills and communication skills and overall a lot of stuff around the ATL field.
So in financial literacy, especially, I learned many skills that I think will be useful for me in the future. We looked into like the stock market and how money works in life and in the economy. So that was very interesting, and we did this little simulation game for stock market, and I didn't make much money, but it was pretty fun and I learned a lot.
No matter which job that I take in the future, I would be able to use the skills I have learned in order to work with a team, to work individually, to give my presentations, and also to make sure that my point is heard and that I'm being able to state what I want to state effectively.
Okay, so some of the students there were talking about skills. That students really love these future-proofing courses, partly because there's no assessment, there's no pressure in them, and they get to develop, as we said before, the school aims, we get to develop something of their own interests and talents. But one important thing, or the most important thing really about future-proofing, is we get a chance to develop students' learning skills, as we call in the IB, ATL skills, approaches to learning. So approaches to learning or learning skills, really what they're doing is they're developing your children's potential. So the more of these learning skills that they acquire, and we explicitly teach these learning skills, the more of these learning skills they acquire, the greater their potential to learn is, because that's the idea behind learning skills. For example, if they learn how to collaborate effectively and learn methods of collaboration, they can learn off other people as well. So learning skills is about increasing their potential to learn or develop potential. As well as, what else do we do apart from future-proofing? We do a core of health and well-being. All students study a term in year 11 of mindfulness, as I think Arthur said there in the presentation. And that's about obviously centering yourself and getting prepared for exams and dealing with the pressures really of being a teenager and trying to learn and balance all the things going on in your life. We also have Learning for Life, which is our SRE program, which is about sex education and also drugs and health. And physical education, that is part of the core as well. So I mentioned back on option C, you could do GCSE PE. So this is in addition to GCSE PE, all students do a core of PE, which is 2 periods in the 7-day cycle. So where would you go for advice? Well, the main part of advice is the website, as I keep saying. You make sure you are looking at a website. 99% of the answers to the questions you want are on that website and on the individual pages of the subject. So here's a few students talking about how they decide and what they thought about their options.
When considering my year 10 options, some factors that I took into consideration was, would I be happy taking that subject? Because this is a 2-year-long subject, and if you're not doing something you like, you're not going to spend a lot of your own time on it. So that was definitely one. I also looked to see like possible jobs I could do if I took this GCSE. Yeah.
I suggest that you focus on your commitment and your interest towards that subject, because you don't want to choose a subject and then find out that you won't be committed to it or that you don't like it anymore. So make sure to choose wisely.
I definitely talk to my peers to get an idea what my strengths and weaknesses are, and as well as teachers, because they have a better understanding of the subject and they know whether it will be the best for you.
I talk to my friends and my family members about whether to choose this subject or to choose another subject. But I think at the end of the day, the final decision should be yours, because you don't want to choose a subject that your family members like, but you don't like it. So the decision is yours. So choose a subject that you like, not what your friends or your family members like.
I talked to my sister because she had already taken her GCSEs and I wanted to know her experience of it. And I also asked her friends who had taken the subjects that I want to do and how they felt about it and whether I should also take it. I also talked to my teachers because they know more about the subject than any of us do. And I also talked to my parents about it.
I talked to year 11s and I talked to my older sister who had already gone through the GCSE exams. And I talked to people who were choosing the same subjects as me to see if the coursework was going to be intense or not.
Well, I looked at I asked the teachers about how much workload there would be per subject so I could choose like not overwhelming amount of work that would stress me out even more. And definitely I researched into IGCSEs and looked at the test and everything so I could get a more in-depth view into each topic.
I looked at universities and I looked at what GCSE subjects they required to enter for the job that I already kind of want to do. And I found that they didn't really have any requirements, so you can look at that.
I did research on specific topic areas of the subject and also looked at the specification of the exams to see what we're going to cover.
I don't think I should have done anything different. I chose like the correct subjects for me.
I definitely wish I would have picked my own options, as in through my own opinions, because it's really easy to be like peer pressured, because a lot of your friends might be taking like psychology and it would kind of pressure you into taking psychology, but it's best to like look at your own strengths.
I wish I had picked subjects that I originally wanted to do, not what my parents wanted me to do. For example, I did computer science because that's what my parents wanted me to do. But later I changed to creative media because I found that it was what I wanted to do, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
My advice would be choose subjects that you're interested in and you're passionate about, because this is going to be like a 2-year course, so you don't want to be doing subjects that you don't like, or that'll be a pretty miserable 2 years for you.
Well, like, definitely enjoy year 9 for now, because it's pretty easy, and once you get older, you'll feel the stress and burden every day. And like, but still concentrate in class because it will come in handy for sure.
Do what makes you happy. Like, if you don't do what makes you happy, you're not going to spend your own time on it. Don't do what your friends are doing. Like, don't pick a subject just because your friends are doing it, because you might not even like it. You might not even be put in the same class as them. And yeah.
Okay, some great advice from currently, I think, year 13 students there, because when they were in year 11, they did that video. So the thing we keep hearing time and time again, and if students have gone on a course in year 10, the reason they end up wanting to change is because they're doing a subject they didn't really want to do in the first place. They were pressured from home, or they were pressured from their friends. So students tend to know what they like doing because most of these courses they've done before. And really my advice is you just do the subjects that you're interested in. You're not going to make any decisions here which are going to impact your future in any way. So really it's about doing what you feel you're interested in, what you enjoy, what's challenging. And it may be useful for further study, not required, but maybe useful. More of that in a minute. And as the students talked about there, don't do it because your friends are doing it, because they probably won't be in the same class. Everyone is different. Everyone likes different things. You may not even be friends with them when you go into year 10. You don't get to choose your teacher. Obviously, you're just allocated a teacher by the system. And parents, don't put undue pressure on students to do, or your children to do subjects that they're actually not that interested in, really. As I say, it's not going to adversely affect their future. As I talked about, some taster lessons there for subjects that students haven't studied before. So those 6 subjects there, which will be coming up very soon, and the sign up for that, Mr. Donald has already sent out, and that's being filled in. So as I said, preparation for year 12, a lot of you asking questions about decisions made here. How does it affect year 12? Very, very little. Virtually every course you do in year 12, whether it be a BTEC course or an IB course, is an ab initio course. Which means that you start from the beginning. You start again. The caveat to that is languages, really, mainly. You can't start a language acquisition, language B course for the first time in year 12, but you can do an ab initio course in Chinese, French, or Spanish. So bear that in mind. Also, as I said before, if you choose the combined science, the single science option, it won't be enough science for you to be able to do the IB, DP science courses. But every other course, for example, geography, if you don't study it at GCSE, you can still study it at IB. It's not an entry requirement to year 12. Currently, our entry requirement to year 12 is just 5 GCSEs level 4. We suggest level 5 and above. We suggest going to level 5 because universities are looking at level 5. It's not really something, as Arthur again was saying on that video there, if you look at university entry requirements, it doesn't say really anything about GCSEs, because a lot of schools around the world don't do GCSEs. They do different things at pre-16. If we were an IB NYP through school, we would do an IB NYP. We wouldn't have GCSEs. So there's no requirement of certain GCSEs to get into university. Your whole portfolio of subjects will be considered when you're looking at university courses. And obviously, especially those year 12 and 13 courses, those BTECs and IB diplomas in year 12 and 13, not the GCSEs. So it's not massively high stakes choosing the right course, just do something you're interested in. So I'm going to take you back to the website now. There's a Q&A you can, I've kind of finished the presentation there, so have a think if there's any questions you want to ask. But if you don't want to ask them live on the webinar, just go out of this and onto the, back onto the website. There is a Q&A part, move this out of the way. Apologies. Okay, there is a Q&A on the website where it says FAQs. You can click there, and it's got FAQs from previous years, and also you can ask questions where it'll go to a Google form and you can ask questions. I'll answer those questions over the next few days and post it onto this website, post the questions onto the home part of this website. Just lastly from me, if you click making my selection here on the website, you go to this page here, which will give you, show you how to make your selection. Now, you don't really need this because your children have already selected their initial selections, because we did I did this presentation, a very similar one to your children last week, and we went back to tutor rooms and they signed up for their options. So the option sign up is through the students' wisdom page, and they'll show you how to do that. Everyone apart from about 10 students have actually signed up for subjects already, so that's absolutely fine. So I no need to go through all that. Your children can show you how to do all of that. And I think that then is all I need to go through. Let's go over this presentation. So if I bring the panelists back, James and Claire and Guy, hopefully I haven't fallen asleep. And James is back home.
We're still here, and technical issues did not continue, thankfully, and thank you to parents for being so patient with us.
Good, good.
So, Mike, a couple of questions, and Guy, if you can come on the screen, because there's been some questions about the taster sessions. Maybe we'll start with that, Guy, if you're there. Guy Hewson, are you there?
Hi, sorry, can James answer that question, because I'm really busy answering everybody else's questions.
But I think this question is a good one, and maybe the rest of it now, Guy, we can just open up to all the parents, might be a good one. So, James, taster sessions, maybe just give us some idea. One parent's asked, is there a restriction on the amount of taster sessions that Year 9 can join in?
Yeah, beautiful. So taster sessions have already been sent to students, and they've got a couple of options to make. So there are 6 subjects that are being made available to students, and those subjects are the ones that they haven't experienced typically through the NYP program. So GCSE business, for example, there's GCSE PE, GCSE physical education, GCSE dance, as well as a couple of others. Because they're taking place during the Year 11 mock exams, where teachers have gained time, but it's only a short window, we're asking students to select up to a maximum of 2 of those. And in communication with students, I've identified that if you're definitely choosing a subject, for example, GCSE dance, and you know, and you're 100% committed to that, don't do the taster session of it. Do the taster session in psychology, for example, something that you want to go and explore, something that you want to know and understand and see the context and the course content to give you a greater understanding. So that's been live now for about 5-6 days, academic days, with the deadline for locking them in this Friday, of which then Mr. Williams, Mike, Guy and myself will then collaborate with respective members of staff and then organise those. So each student will gain a maximum of 2 if they wanted to.
Okay, thanks, James. And Mike, one for you. If a student decided to do the triple science, can they choose just 1 or 2 options from the 3 options that are available?
No, they have to do in all double science, and combined science, they have to study all three of physics, chemistry, and biology.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think some parents will be asking. And thank you to Noel for this question. Is there a restriction on what you can choose for IB higher level if you haven't taken that subject for GCSE?
No. Only languages, as I said, that's the only one really. And if you do combined science, you can't do IB diploma in physics, chemistry, and biology. Every other one you can study at standard level or high level, even if you haven't done it at GCSE.
Yeah, and it's great. It's like you say, Mike, it's about what you enjoy in years 10 and 11. And Mike, we've had a few questions on languages, and you know, as a school, we've looked at how we can support language learning. So May's asking, is it possible to choose Spanish as a GCSE language subject when you haven't learnt it yet in years 7 to 9?
It's certainly possible, but you would need to have a level of proficiency of Spanish, which is equivalent to what a student would have, at least equivalent to what a student would have at the end of year 9. And the only way we're going to ascertain that really is if you talk to the head of languages, or the head of foreign languages is Ms Guzman, and she can tell you about any of the 3 subjects, and she'll maybe pass you on to Ms Yu, or the head of French as well, and see what your language ability is. So it's not impossible. It's very unusual though. Usually you do the same language that you've been doing in year 9.
Yeah, and I think the key, Mike, with May is she said that this child hasn't studied it at all. So if they haven't studied it, not do it. And dual language, Mike, is tough, isn't it? Learning 2 languages at GCSE. It's a tall order for young people really to do, unless they've got, like you said, that proficiency.
Yeah, if you do want to do that, then you need to have the conversation with your teacher and the head of languages about what is your level of proficiency in the language, because we have a duty to make sure you can actually access the course. The GCSE is not an ab initio course. It follows on from some language acquisition all the way through year 7 and 8, and possibly before, especially in terms of Chinese.
Yeah, and I know when we did the NYP choices last year in year 8, we were, you know, we get students to choose one language in year 9 for breadth and balance, but we did say, you know, if you do want to carry on with the study of another language outside of your NYP, very, very welcome to do that. And Mike, with timetabling, can we always accommodate requests for some of these subjects?
So, like languages, like every other subject, we can't run every course. So it just depends on the take-up. If we have enough people deciding to do Spanish as their dual language, as their second language, we'll run the course. So you're talking around about 6 students, we can run a course. We can't run every course if there's not enough students, but that goes for any subject at GCSE or IB or BTEC. There's a certain minimum we need to actually make it feasible to run a course.
Thank you, Mike. Just a few parents asking questions on that. That's great. No more questions I can see. Guy, James, any more that we can share with Mike to answer? I know we're running out of time.
Okay, BJ's just asked a question here about shared resources. Yes, all of these, this webinar will be shared. Everything's on the website. It's all on the website. All the questions, frequently asked questions, your questions, everything's going to be updated on the website. That really is your go-to place for everything. And if you've still not got the questions after looking at the website and all the frequently asked questions, then just email me and I'll just shoot you an email, personal email back. And that's fine. But talk to your teachers, look at the website.
Great, thank you. Nothing else from me, Mike, in terms of questions. Just one parent just coming in, absolutely clear, at GCSE language, you do have to be proficient in that language if you want to take an additional language in addition to the one that you're currently studying, because you're hitting the ground running at GCSE. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, you'd be expected to be at the level that we expect students to be at the end of year 9, having studied the language in year 7, 8 and 9.
Thanks, Mike. That's really clear. Okay, that's it from me.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks to Guy and James as well. And we'll see
Thank
you
you for your
around.
time, everybody.
Take care. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.